project that I worked on in the 24-week coding bootcamp that I took was an assignment that we each had to do individually. And so this was one of the first times I demonstrated to myself that I was capable of overcoming coding obstacles and programming an entire full-stack CRUD web application from scratch. The assignment was to create an app using Node.js and MongoDB that lets users scrape articles from any news website of their choice and save the ones that they find interesting. They'd also be able to add and delete relevant comments per article. So here's my Heroku deployed app where I chose the Nature News site to scrape, and I'll just now give you a quick demo to show you how this site works. When you click Scrape New Articles that aren't in either home or saved pages will populate this page. You can then save the articles you want, and the articles will go into the saved articles page. Then you can also add comments and delete certain comments. When you click delete from saved, it will delete the article entirely from this group of saved articles, and you'll then be able to scrape it again and see it on the home page. Let's go to the code now, and you can see that this is an application with MVC or Model View Controller architecture. The views part is modularized in this public folder that contains HTML, CSS that's rendered to the browser client, as well as contains the JavaScript AJAX methods that handle the UI rendering. In the models folder, we have the schemas built in using Mongoose object modeling, from which new instances of articles and comments can be created. Here we have the article schema, which is an object with these properties: title, link, summary, a saved comment, whose values are objects themselves that specify certain validation conditions. Notice here, for example, that a value of true next to the unique property will make it so that new articles will only appear in the home page if it's not already in either the home or saved pages. In the controllers folder, you can define routing and store your AJAX request methods like delete, get, and update to retrieve and manipulate the data that's scraped into the MongoDB. I've also npm installed all the node packages I need for this app, and you can check that here in the package JSON. Now let's take a look at the server.js file. First, at the top of the script, I've required the npm packages like Express, which is a Node.js server framework, body parser, which parses incoming request bodies that are accessible under the rec.body property, and the Mongoose ODM that works in asynchronous environments. These packages can then be called upon and used downstream. I've also imported our models and route models. Request and Cheerio are two npm packages that will be our tools for scraping. Here you initialize Express, and when the Node.js process boots up, it will automatically provide access to all existing environment variables by creating an env object as a property of the process global object. Process.m.port is undefined locally, but in deployment on a cloud host like Heroku, the port variable will indicate which port the server should listen to for the routing to work properly. So in this case, it will take the value of the port if available, or default to 3000. Moving on down here, I've connected the production mode of the app to the MLab database as a service MongoDB host. And once the Mongoose connection is established, we'll then have the routes, which I've made sure are downstream of the app variable instance. This app.get request uses the Cheerio API, which parses markup to scrape this website right here. With the Chrome browser inspector, I dug into the document object model in order to use jQuery selectors to grab elements that I wanted, specifically the title of the article and description. Then you can store the result object as a new instance of the article schema to the MongoDB. The rest of this file are the routes that we're defining. For example, this app.get is an HTTP request that listens for the /API/headlines URL. And runs the .find mongoose method that includes an error first callback preceding the sending of the response as a JSON object to grab the articles that were scraped to the MongoDB. There are also delete and put requests that handle routing on URLs with specific data ID parameters. All right, that's it, and thank you for your attention.